I talk about radical trust, and meaning that, first of all, you have to trust that you are the soul and that you can trust what comes through to you and what you notice, that that's the soul trying to get through to your mind and personality. You can trust the way reality occurs around you, the way the flow materializes things in your life, moment to moment to moment, and engage with it. You can trust the way other people show up in your world, that you'll get people on your wavelength, and then you'll get people who are not on your wavelength in order to show you something. That's all part of just unconditional trust. Then the bridge time, it's then you're looking at saying, all right, I know what it feels like when I'm with a person who's soul-based, but there are a lot of people who aren't there yet. And what I've found is a lot of people, they will pretty much show you who they are or tell you who they are or what they're capable of almost right away in the beginning. Like, I'm capable of doing this, but not this. And then if we overstep that and expect more of them, then we just end up getting rejected or disappointed by the amount that we overstepped. So it's something about reading people properly in the beginning. It's not about judging them or mistrusting them. It's about giving them what they can accept. And that, to me, that's an act of compassion. It's also a matter of always looking through the surface of the way a person presents themselves to see the soul inside that is trying to really get through. And if I see someone as their soul and I relate to them as that is the truth, that is the absolute truth, and I telepathically convey that to the person and communicate that in a nonverbal way, somehow they're going to get it. And at some point, they're going to start to think, well, maybe I am better than I thought. Or maybe, and they'll start to live up to that vision that you have of them. You work sometimes on two levels. On the inner, you're seeing them as the soul and validating them and conveying that to them. And on the outer, you're honoring the fact that they say, I'm not ready to do this much yet. And so you don't try to make them do more than they can, but you might show them or demonstrate to them that it is possible just by the way you act. And then they can look at you and say, maybe I could do that, without forcing. Do you see? Give them the choice.
It brings to mind, I heard some life coach talking about how we'll see about 5% of something, and then our brains will fill in the story about everything else. So if someone is dressed a certain way, we're going to assume that they must do this and make this much money and da-da-da-da-da. Right. It sounds like rather than looking at the surface and letting our brain fill in the other 95%, to be present and actually pay attention rather than projecting our assumptions onto them, to listen to what's really there.
It's true. And a way to clarify that would be to say that when we're working out of the left brain is where we have all the definitions and everything locked down and our opinions and blah, blah, blah. So if we're living in the left brain and trying to be safe by having all these rules, that's what we'll do. We'll say, oh, that person is in a business suit, so they can't possibly be a loving person. But if you're more used to opening into your right brain and into your intuition and your heart and your body and your feeling sense of a person, you'll take a moment and say, okay, they're in a business suit, but let me feel them. Let me see the light in their eyes. So let me feel the energy coming off their skin. Let me feel how their posture is. Are they uptight about something, or are they really a warm-hearted person underneath? And part of that is just the love of the exploration of finding the mystery. Like, okay, well, you can't judge the book by its cover. Okay, there's the cover, but what's really inside? And that becomes kind of a game. I do that just to entertain myself. Just like, cool. I love discrepancies. I love weirdness. I love people who have all kinds of weird combinations of characteristics. It's fascinating. If everybody's just the same in one way, it's so boring.
Mm-hmm. I can imagine that it takes a lot of confidence to be able to do that, because so many of us are so wrapped up in what's going on in our own head, and we're self-conscious and what's this person going to think of me and da-da-da-da, that we're not paying so much attention to the other person. We're just wrapped up in our own, probably our left brain.
Right. That's an ironic thing. It's like, it looks like you're paying lots of attention to the other person, but it's mainly so that you can figure out how to act so they'll like you. When you just let yourself be authentic and real and honest in the way you respond and in sharing the thoughts you have in a nice way, in a compassionate way, not in a blatant, beat them over the head with your honesty way, that then people feel comfortable with you. Do you know, if you're trying to match them to make them feel comfortable, they never know who you are. And then they feel uncomfortable. We get comfort when we can relax with someone, when we know that they're who they really are. If someone's judging you, you can't relax. If someone's, reading you and trying to manipulate you, you don't relax because you feel that manipulation and you feel that they're not being real. But you get with somebody like the Dalai Lama, for instance, and you go, wow, what a great guy.
Mm-hmm.
I could be myself and he's not going to judge me. He's going to love me no matter what I do. So part of it is when you're being authentic, other people relax and then they feel like they can be themselves too. And that's where this transparency thing gains momentum because really it becomes contagious. If you're transparent, and that means you allow other people to see who you are, then guess what? Then you can see through them. You see who they are. You let them see you, you see them. Then you start to be able to see through problems, situations that seem snagged. You go, oh, it's just this. The surface does not snag you anymore. You go right to the heart of what's really real. And then more and more people get you for who you are, and then everything eases up and people give you more. They help you more. You get synchronicities. It's like an amazing thing. It just builds on itself.